In November 1986, a Japanese crew on board Japan Airlines Flight 1628 would encounter a UFO that would change their lives forever. And in today's video, we will explore what exactly was it that they saw. Enjoy. On November 16, 1986, Japan Airlines Flight 1628 was preparing for a routine flight. The cargo consisted mainly of French wine, and Captain Kenju Teruyuchi, co-pilot Takanori Tamafuji, and flight engineer Yoshio Tsugaba were going about the day as normal, preparing for a standard journey, which they had already completed dozens of times. Laden with wine, JAL 1628 took off from Paris and flew the first leg of the trip to Reykjavik, and the next day they continued flying over Greenland and then across northern Canada without anything out of the ordinary happening. However, just after they crossed into Alaska at 5:09 p.m. local time, Anchorage Air Traffic Control contacted them on the radio to report initial radar contact. The Anchorage flight controller asked them to turn 15 degrees to the left. They were at 35,000 feet and travelling at a ground speed of around 600 miles per hour. At about 5:11 p.m. local time, Captain Teruyuchi noticed the lights of some sort of aircraft about 2,000 feet below and 30 degrees to the left of them. He decided that the aircraft was most probably an American jet fighter from nearby Elson-Elmdorf air bases patrolling Alaskan airspace, so he ignored them at first. However, after a few minutes, he noticed that the lights were keeping pace with his own aircraft, which would be a highly irregular thing for patrolling jet pilots to do. It was about 7 or so minutes later when suddenly 2 disc-shaped crafts flew in front of the plane, following by a blinding bright light. Teruyuchi said that it was his impression that the 2 objects he had seen below them minutes before had suddenly jumped in front of him. The craft, one over the other, kept pace with the 747 for several minutes. The objects displayed what Teruyuchi described as a disregard for inertia. The thing was flying as if there was no such thing as gravity. It sped up, then stopped, then flew at the same speed as the plane, in the same direction, so that to them it appeared to be standing still. The next instant it would change course and dot all around the aeroplane. In other words, the flying object had overcome gravity. Those of you familiar with Bob Lazar will know that he explained how alien crafts change and control gravity, and is one of the strongest explanations as to why these UFOs can move so quickly. After about 7 minutes, they changed to a side-by-side arrangement. At this point, the pilots and crew members were in a state of shock and couldn't comprehend what they were looking at. Tamafuji decided to call Anchorage Air Traffic Control. For the next 30 minutes, the 747 and the Anchorage Air Traffic Control were in constant contact regarding the UFO.
Deviate from some object, equating 240. Spinner 1628 Heavy. Deviation is approved as necessary for traffic. Quite a big.
At this point, they began experiencing radio interference and were asked by Anchorage to change frequencies. Almost just as quickly as they appeared, the 2 objects then disappeared. Where the first objects disappeared, Captain Teruyuchi now noticed an additional unknown craft. However, this craft was enormous and was at least double the size of an aircraft carrier. The short-range radar at Fairbanks Airport failed, however, to register the object. Anchorage Air Traffic Control offered military intervention, which was declined by the pilot due to his knowledge of the Mantell incident. After several minutes, the JAL 1628 arrived safely in Anchorage at 18:20. This incident would change the lives of the pilots and crew forever. The Federal Aviation Administration conducted an investigation of the incident and did not issue its final report until March the 5th. The Committee of the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal Phil Klass issued a premature statement on January the 22nd, claiming that the UFOs were planets Jupiter and Mars, an impossible solution because the UFOs were seen in parts of the sky opposite to the position of these planets. Also because the UFOs moved from positions one above the other and side to side. In December 1986, Teruyuchi gave an interview to two Kyoto news journalists. Japan Airlines soon grounded him for talking to the press and moved him to a desk job. Later, a videotape emerged of the radar recordings, along with the audio from ground control and Teruyuchi's plane. The video was scrutinized by the FAA, as well as representatives from the FBI, CIA, and President Reagan's scientific study team. Upon completion of the presentation, all present were told that the incident was secret and that their meeting never took place. The officials considered the data to represent the first instance of recorded radar data on a UFO, and they took possession of all the presented data. Despite how this ruined the careers of the pilots and crew members, they were still 100% certain of what they saw was not man-made or of this world. They all had lie detector tests and proved that they were telling the truth. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this case, and I will see you again in the next one. Thank you.